Powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to Sleuths Unleashed, unraveling criminal cases with your podcast hosts Victoria Kennedy and Susan Gonzalez. In this podcast, we dive deep into the world of crime solving, exploring both the mysteries that baffle and the breakthroughs that inspire. Whether it's cold cases, unsolved disappearances, or the innovative techniques that crack the toughest puzzles, we bring you stories that captivate and challenge the mind. Join us as we uncover the truth, one case at a time. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and let's get sleuthing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. This is one of your hosts, Susan, and we have our co-host,
Victoria.
And today we're going to talk about the Bernstein murder. If you haven't heard about it, it is a case that has went to court, but we just kind of wanted to discuss it and go over it because it was a very intriguing case and some things that had went on during this case. So go ahead and you can start telling us all about this case. Mm-hmm.
So with this month being Gay Pride Month and me being gay, I felt that kind of putting Blaze Bernstein in the spotlight, and I know that probably sounds really bad, but kind of still making his story, kind of putting it out there to, let people know that, there still is hate crime. There's still things that are going on within the gay community. And because there's been so much hate lately in the world, like I said, I just thought that this would be a pretty good, case to kind of bring back up. Blaze was born on April 27th, 1998 in South Orange County, California. His parents, Gideon Bernstein and Jean Pepper, not only did they have Blaze, but they also had two other children. At the time, Blaze Bernstein, he actually attended the Orange County School of the Arts. Once he graduated, he then attended the University of Pennsylvania. When he attended the University of Pennsylvania, he actually came home to spend time with his family for the holidays, and that is where he actually met up with his then former classmate, who we're going to call Woodward because that's who he is, and kind of began kind of chatting back and forth with him. So as I mentioned, we were going to call him Woodward because that is who he is, but his full name is Sam Woodward. So Sam Woodward actually was a former classmate of Blaze. Now at the time, Blaze was 19 years old. He was an Ivy League student. He was spending the holidays visiting family in Orange County when he went missing. And he went missing the night of January 2nd, 2018. When Blaze did not show up to a dentist appointment and he didn't respond to texts or calls from his parents, they went and they kind of went back into the home. They checked his room. They didn't find him there, but they found his wallet, his keys, and glasses still at the house. They searched his computer and social media accounts for any type of clues because to them it was not typical behavior of him. So when they went on to Blaze's Snapchat, that's where they found messages from Sam Woodward, who had been Blaze's high school classmate. The message showed that the night Blaze went missing, he had sent his address to Woodward. The parents then reached out to Woodward, who claimed he had picked Blaze up, driven him to a local Borrego Park, and that apparently he said that Blaze then walked off in the dark to meet another friend. And what's really ironic is that Sam Woodward literally said, "I didn't see where he went." That's what he told the parents. "I didn't see where he went." But he searched all over for him. He couldn't find him anywhere. So why would he search for him if he allegedly went and dropped him off at a park to meet another friend? To me, that's out of the everyday context. And not only that, but when you have guys that are together, a lot of times guys are gonna say, "Don't worry about me. I'm gonna go meet up somebody here. If you could just drop me off." So I wonder if that was ever the story that Sam Woodward may have told the parents.
Yeah, because you'd never really want to go. You're not going to, if you're going to just drop somebody off, you're going to leave. You're not going to go back and search for them after that. If somebody said, "Hey, can you give me a ride somewhere?" here, and you're going to drop them off, they're going to walk off, and you're just going to go away. You're not going to go back to search. So I think that just seems like more of an excuse, or maybe he was trying to come up something with the parents, like, I went back to look for him later, but he wasn't there, so I just went home and didn't think anything of it. But that wasn't the case.
No, that's really, really true. I mean, it's totally it's different when it's girls dropping off another girl, because I think we're more into that. Where you going? Who's this friend? Are you meeting a guy? Are you sure you're safe? I think girls would look at it more of a safety aspect versus guys. From one guy
Right.
to another, basically. So after, when they spoke to Sam Woodward, they actually became extremely concerned, and that's when they filed a missing persons report with the police. So from that point on, you know, they said, okay, let's see what we can do. We're going to go ahead and search the park. Now, I remember listening to this on the news. And it's we of course it's going to rain here in California, but we don't get a lot of rain. And this time when Blaze went missing, we actually had so much rain. And in Orange County, in certain parts of Orange County, it'll rain more than in certain parts of Los Angeles County. It just kind of depends where you're at. And I remember hearing this on the news, and I want to say that they actually had the news person standing outside of the park with the sign, like Borrego Park, like the name of the park. And I
Right.
remember that I think I told my wife, and I said, you know what, he's in that park. And apparently, the cops went and they searched, they searched. They weren't able to find him. There was basically no word of Blaze. But again, the family was still extremely hopeful. They held a press conference asking the public to continue looking for their son, which I I don't blame them. But once the heavy rain stopped, and this is so ironic, right? Because a lot of times when it rains, it'll just kind of pack the mud on or the dirt on. So if you go and dig a hole in your backyard and you run the water, it's like it gets muddier. You know what I mean? Um, so after days of searching, investigators found Blaze buried in a shallow grave in Borrego Park once the heavy rain stopped. That's what helped them find Blaze. Once the rain stopped, I guess apparently it washed away everything, and that's how they were able to find him. And when they found him, they also found his phone. And according to the autopsy report, he was stabbed more than 20 times. But when he was stabbed, it was on the both left and right side of his neck, I believe. And once after, Woodward was actually picked up and charged for this. And talk about creepy. This guy, Woodward, literally said that he had felt like this an abundance amount of rage and anger that he has never felt before. And he said what basically caused all of this was Blaze went and touched his genitals. So, I said it earlier. I'm gay, but if I had a straight person trying to have any type of connection with me of any kind, I'm not going to go to the point where I'm just going to flip out and lose it and end up killing that person, whether if it was a straight female or a straight guy. So obviously there was already something that was going on, and not only that, but I also feel that Sam Woodward, that there was some type of him fighting his own sexuality, if that makes any sense.
No, that's what I think too. I think he was not wanting to come out the way that maybe the other guy, Bernstein was obviously openly gay, and they said, and so they believe this was a hate crime. But at the same time, it's like, why even meet up with him? Because if you're if you know that, then why even take him out, or why even hang out with him, or want to hang out with him, and and then try to say that he tried to sexually assault you. That's kind of that's not a reason to murder somebody. I mean, you go and you turn them into the cops for that, because you could be charged for that as well, but that's not a reason to like literally just stab a person 20 times. I mean, 20 times is like overkill. There's no reason to have to stab somebody 20 times because they're already dead, obviously. So he just went above and beyond.
No, that's very true. But, just, I mean, this is a guy who came home for the holidays to spend with his family, and it took such a tragic turn. And on top of that, even though his body was found, Sam Woodward was prosecuted. We could always say that there was going to be closure for the family, but there wasn't any closure, and there will never be any closure for the family. Your kid leaves, you always expect that they're going to come back, and they suddenly don't return. I cannot even begin to imagine the feeling of not being able to do anything. Like, where do we go? What do we do? How do we do this as a parent? And having to sit in that courtroom listening to Sam Woodward's testimony. They were saying that when he was giving his testimony and describing how he actually killed Bernstein, the mom literally just got up and had to leave the courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to sit there and want to listen to exactly? I mean, this guy seems like, well, they tried to use the excuses that it was, it wasn't something that was premeditated, because I think they were trying to get away from the premeditated notion. Um, and so he admitted to killing him. But yeah, to go into details, I mean, how can you sit through something like that as a parent? I wouldn't want to sit through that and hear somebody, especially if they have no remorse or no emotion for what they've done either. So he seems like quite the character.
Have you seen a photograph of Sam Woodward?
I seen a photograph of when he was first uh, picked up, and then I seen what he looked like when he went to court. And yeah, he kind of just let himself go though. Um, Looks like he was like all like unshaven, hair all over the place. Like he just did not care. He didn't look like he cared about anything in the world anyways either. His demeanor was just like stoic. He didn't have there was nothing.
It's like I like if he's not even there, it's like literally
Yeah.
just a shell, basically. But I do feel that it was premeditated. I feel that because he was having problems with his own sexuality, that, by him reaching out, because he said that he actually reached out to Blaze Bernstein in January 2018. So he knew that he was going to be visiting his family in Lake Forest on winter break, and that he was looking for someone to hang out with, and that Blaze Bernstein said, well, hey, we can meet up that night, which they did. And he goes on and he says, the both of them were sitting on the bench at Barango Park, and I guess apparently he may have blacked out. I kind of that's the whole kind of sense that I gather after reading everything, that he doesn't remember. Like, he doesn't remember stabbing him 20 times. He doesn't remember um like basically anything, which also could be a cop out, right? But I mean, how are you not going to know that you stabbed somebody 20 times? And how can you even do that? How can you have so much rage and so much anger to even cause that type of harm to someone?
And I know during his testimony, I guess they said that he always carried a knife on him. So the knife was not like planned, he didn't just take it with him to kill him. They're trying to say that he already had a knife with him because that's just what he always did. And then, I had seen that there was blood in his car. So obviously it started in the car, but it must not have all completely happened in the car, because it sounds like the blood was found on like the top of the car,
Yes.
like the seat or the roof. And it was a mixture of his blood and well, the Woodward and Bernstein's blood. So it's like he got cut in the same time, like the kid was fighting back, and it must have went outside of the car. And then the rain, of course, probably washed away all of the crime scene. from the park area. And then it looks like he just pretty much was like, oh, he tried to do something to me. I had smoked a joint before that. So he, playing off the type of, well, I smoked a joint, so I don't really know, that played a part in it, that he was drugged up a little bit. And so he's trying to come up with all kinds of reasons and excuses for why he was doing the things he did, and that, his mind wasn't all there. But I honestly think it was just plotted from the get go. I mean, you don't see the kid for 2 years and then you just want to all of a sudden hang out when he's coming home for what, Christmas break? And then you just kill him? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense at all. But kind of going back to how he was saying, we were smoking marijuana. I mean, you know, I want to say I was in high school when I tried to smoke a joint, to smoke marijuana. And all I remember is that it totally just made me feel stupid. That's how it made me feel. Like everything was moving in slow motion. So when I see other people smoking marijuana or know that somebody is totally stoned and they're high on marijuana, because you can totally you can tell, you know, their coordination is off. So how is somebody who is just smoking marijuana able to do this? So maybe there was something else inside the marijuana. Maybe it was laced with PCP, because again, to be able to stab somebody 20 times, you're going to know what you already know what you're doing.
Well, yeah, and like I mean, I smoked marijuana like once. I think I smoked it, and that was a long time ago, and it made me tired. I didn't even want to do anything. Like I was just like there. Didn't want to move, I didn't want I mean, you're talking about 20 times of a person like actively stabbing somebody hard. I mean, and a human is not easy to human skin and bone is not easy to just stab through, as many times as you watch it on TV on how they reenact things. So it's like I just don't even feel like I would have enough, not that I want to try it, but that I would have enough like anger or anything if I'm smoking pot. I just, my head, and that may be different for somebody else. Like you said, it could have been laced with PCP or something like that. But it's just, to me, it's just like I wouldn't have enough umph to even want to do anything, pick myself up, do anything remotely. I'd just be like, you know, just laying there, like, take me home, let me go to bed. Like, I just want to sleep this off because I don't like it. You know what I mean? So I never did it after that because I didn't find out what people liked about it really.
you
You know,
know I would just probably say I want to go to 7-Eleven and I just want to get snacks,
a slushy.
something, peanut M&Ms, something,
Right.
you know but I just don't see how somebody who was under the influence of marijuana would be able to have the strength, to have the coordination, to even have the brain power to comprehend what he was going what he was going to do. Because he even said that, he said something, he was too close to his leg. He thought that, at first he thought that maybe he had urinated on himself, but then he opened his eyes and his pants were unbuckled, and Bernstein had one hand on his crotch and the other hand holding his cell phone. And he said that he just went into a total state of terror. That's what he said. And I'm quoting that. I went in a state of terror. I remember just asking, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he just remembers asking it again and again, "What are you doing?" And, Bernstein's like, "Calm down, it's not a big deal." But then Sam Woodward kept, saying, um, like, "What are you doing?" So,
How do you remember all that if you can't remember anything else? Like, you remember a whole conversation you had?
there's no way.
And then to be able to dig a deep or a shallow grave, bury him in it, make sure his phone was put in it and everything, and cover him up.
Remember, did they say he had a shovel or something in his car?
I don't see that they said that. They just said he buried in a shallow grave. So I don't remember them saying whether he dug it with a shovel or anything like that. I know they just found the knife and blood in his car, but they didn't really say if he had had anything to dig. So that's why I don't know, you know.
Was
But
it
still, at the same time, you're talking about getting out there, digging with something, your hands, whatever you're digging with, and digging enough mine to dig a shallow grave after you just stabbed him 20 times, and then bury him and make sure you put his phone there too.
no? I think that he said he dug it with his own bare hands.
Yeah, because I didn't think I seen anything with a shovel. It just said shallow grave, and that may be why it was shallow, is because he did it with his hands, and it wasn't with a shovel or anything that helped him.
But how are you still going to be able to do that? Well, I guess if it's raining, it's going to be muddy, but I don't get that. I don't see how you're going to be able to literally dig with your hands a shallow grave. That's what I'm
Well,
saying. He had to have been on something else.
and not to mention he had to pull the body over there because it obviously started in the car if both of their blood was found in the car. So obviously the crime started in the car. It ended up outside of the car because the crime scene in the car would have been way worse if you stabbed a person 20 times in that car. I mean, it would have been crazy, but it ended up outside of the car somehow, and he had to have dragged the body, dug his shallow grave, all in this mind sense that he doesn't remember stabbing him 20 times. But then he knew he had the right mind to go and dig a grave and bury him and just place him in that and tell everybody and just come up with the story that he walked away with another friend to meet up with another friend. That just doesn't make any sense. You have that right mindset right there. And then your story changes again and again and again. So
And I
I
bet
don't
you
think he.
and I bet you if they were to even ask him again today, he probably would have a totally different story.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't even remember what he said on the stand, or the exact way he said it. And sometimes, I mean, when you're telling a story over and over again, you get little parts mixed up. You're not going to have big parts, but that's a big difference between, well, I dropped him off and he just, I watched him walk off with another friend, to stabbing him and digging a grave and all of that in one evening by a kid that's what, 20 years old? Um,
Yeah, I think he was like 23, I think.
yeah. So, I mean, and he did all of that on his own, and he don't remember half of it that did, and he was smoking weed. So that just doesn't all add up, in a sense that the story doesn't add up, and then to change it over time. Well, and then what else did they say? They also said he was part of a
Some
kind of a
Nazi group.
neo-Nazi terrorist group,
Yeah.
some division of that, and that the kid was openly gay and Jewish. So
Well,
if they are trying to say it goes off the Jewish part, I mean, he never even used that part when he tried to say what he did. He used the sexual assault and him being openly gay as the reason why he killed him. So yeah, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense with this kid.
and what also amazes me is how he actually pleaded not guilty. He pleaded
Yeah,
not guilty to anything.
because he tried to act like he didn't know where the kid was, right, at first, or
Yeah.
even when they went to court. So he was trying to act like he didn't have anything to do with that part of what happened to him after he saw him walk off to go meet another friend. He tried to hide all that until finally it comes out in court. I mean, you can't really hide it once you find blood on the roof of your car, like in the inside of the car. Your blood and his blood. There's no way that would have got in there.
No. But I also feel that Blaze Bernstein, that he totally put up a fight. I was actually trying to search for the autopsy report, but I was not able to find that, which is really odd. But, like I said, the reports were that he was stabbed 20 times, both left and right side of his neck. I mean, gay or not, he's still a guy. He's going to be able to defend himself, to kind of use his strength. So I'm pretty sure he probably would have put up a good fight too. Um, and maybe that was the whole point of getting together, smoking weed, so that way he would be at that point of he has no control of himself. Not, not having 100% not being able to be in control, but, like I said, when you smoke marijuana, you get a little bit slow, so not be able to have that muscle coordination. So maybe that's why Sam Woodward was like, hey, let's go and smoke some marijuana. So that way he could go ahead and do that. I mean, maybe he did not have any marijuana in his system. And maybe
Yeah.
Bernstein did.
Well, and by the time they, decided to arrest him and stuff, you're not going to be able to test for some of that um,
Yeah, no,
either.
not at all.
So by the
Not
time
at
he
all.
finds his body, I mean, the poor kid was just, trying to be a friend to somebody, it seems like. And especially to a kid that it seems like was kind of socially awkward as it was. It seems like they said he had Asperger's syndrome and he had social issues.
Yes.
Um, so it's like he was looking for a friend, but at the same time, it's like, was he really looking for a friend or was he looking for somebody that he just wanted to take all his hatred out on or anger out on? Or because it seemed like maybe he was also, in these groups or doing these different types of members of this group. And you know how that can get sometimes too, where they're just like feeding you a whole bunch of hatred and you just get so angry that you want to take it out on somebody. And then a lot of times you'll have murderers say that too, that their anger just they got so worked up and that the person just was like, gay and did this and that. And so I just, then I just stabbed him. And it's just like, you're looking like, what? Like, how do you get that angry at a person that did nothing to you? It's just actually wanted to go out and hang out with you and be your friend and just talk to you. Like, it seems like the guy just wanted to be his friend because he didn't have many. So, I mean, it seems like this kid was a nice kid and wanted to just be friendly. Didn't seem like he had anything. He hadn't done anything before. Nobody else had said he'd tried anything on them or, you know, sexually assaulted them. It didn't seem like this kid was that kind of kid. He seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders, going to great schools, doing his schoolwork, coming home. I mean, he went to the University of Pennsylvania. That's a really good school. So, I mean, he was headed in a path on his own way and just was his own personality. And this kid just did not like it.
And
And
who's
took
to
it out on him.
say and who's to say it wasn't it wasn't reversed? Who's to say that Sam Woodward was the one who was trying to initiate any type of sexual intimacy with Blaze Bernstein? And what if it was Blaze saying, hey, no, so I'm just here to kind of hang out, to kind of chill with you. So was that what totally offset Sam? Was that more of a like, that just pissed me off because you're already gay? I'm already confused about my own sexual identity and you're a Jew? Like is that something that pretty much sparked the flame, I guess we can say? Because looking at I'm sorry, not Sam's, at Blaze's photo, I can definitely tell that Blaze was the type of guy who would just go to hang out. Like he does not give me that type of vibe where, okay, let's go hang out because we're gonna have sex. To me, he seems like he's a quiet individual, caring, and it was like, okay, well, let's go hang out. Old school friend who came out of the woodwork. Okay, sure, yeah, I remember you. Let's go hang out. So again, who's to say that it was not Sam who initiated that, to initiate the whole sexual thing with Blaze. And Blaze said, hold up. No, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to hang out.
Right. And it's like you almost look at it like this kid, he just and just because you're different in a way of other people, like you're gay or you have, different beliefs than other people, doesn't mean you're going to go out and just sexually assault somebody of the same sex either, you know. Because that's almost what it sounds like is like, well, he was gay and, we got in the car and then he just tried to do stuff with me. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the kind of person, that a person is that's just going to do that just because, oh, I'm a guy and he's a guy. And so he wanted to, no. I mean, and it seems like they just met up again. It's not like they even had contact prior to a lot before he came home. So it just seems like and this guy reached out to him. It wasn't the other way around. If it was somebody that was going to go after somebody to try to do something with them, you would most likely think that that would be like Bernstein would be the one that reached out to him, like, hey, do you want to meet up? Da da da. But it wasn't. It was the other way around. Woodward reached out to him. So it's just interesting how the aspect of it and the kid, I think he just used that as an excuse. He was just using that as an excuse. And he just wanted to hurt somebody. Honestly, I think he just wanted to hurt somebody, and this kid was a target because he had knew him and maybe been nice to him a few times, or tried to be friends with him before, or was just didn't treat him any differently in school because he was different and he was socially awkward too. So maybe they both had things that were going on, and this kid just picked somebody, like, oh, and he just happened to be the one that was targeted, and it's a sad situation.
Oh, it's super sad, and just I remember there was it was either Dateline or 2020, and they followed the parents to go to the dorm and clean out Blaze's room. And you could tell that the parents were trying so hard to be strong, especially the mom, and I when I was reading that and I even watched the video, made it just made like I don't even know how to explain how it made me feel. To have to go into your son's dorm, clean out his room, and knowing that you're cleaning it out because he's dead and he's not coming back. And just to have that other reminder of having to do that and knowing this, that it's just more of a validation. It's like, when does it end? When does it stop? Even though, as I mentioned earlier, Sam, the killer, he is, in jail. I don't think he's ever going to get out because chances are he's going to do this again. There's still not that closure because they don't have their kid. They didn't have that opportunity to say, okay, I love you, be careful, bye. To them, it was just like, he's going to go do whatever and he'll be back.
Yeah, and at the same time, then this kid's in jail, and it's a constant reminder as well that what happened to your kid, and then everything that he said during trial. I mean, how does the parent forget about things that you say during trial and what you did to their son? And like, I mean, I know over time they say grief gets easier. It never goes away, and the pain never goes away of missing somebody and the things, but it's just like you have to live with the fact of everything that was done to him at the same time too. So not only do you have the grief portion of it, but you also have all the details that you've learned about everything that's happened to your child and every pain that they went through. And as a parent, you're like, I wish I could take that pain away. I could have done something to help, or which you couldn't, because nobody ever knows a person and what a person's going to do, or you know and he was 19 years old when this happened, so it's like a parent's not going to be like, well, you can't go hang out with your friends. But you just live with all of that, like guilt and all that's left, and then you kind of just have to work through it, I guess. I mean, as a parent, I don't think I wouldn't be able to handle it. I mean, I don't know how people do it, and very strong people, that's for sure.
Oh man, not only to Blaze's parents and to his family, but I don't know how any parent, any family is going to be able to ever come to terms with this. Because, I mean, think about it. You're going to have, the first holidays without him. The birthdays, the anniversaries, all those special moments. His siblings having children and so forth. So
Right.
like I say, it's just a constant reminder that someone who had his own personal views of thinking that, he's Jewish, he's gay, and thinking that's bad, ends up just taking him out. And I'm really convinced that it was the other way around.
What do you mean?
I'm really convinced that it wasn't Blaze Bernstein that was trying to have any type of sexual connections. I think it was Sam Woodridge who was trying to have that sexual connection with Bernstein.
You think because he was confused of his sexuality or something, and he wasn't sure, and then maybe after he just felt like what are you doing to me? You know what I mean? Or why? Like it just like shut off and freaked him out or something. They did say they felt he was like maybe he thought he might be, but he didn't know. It was kind of like one of those that he was back and forth on whether he was gay or not gay or sexually attracted to whoever. And then he just kind of, I don't know.
Okay, so think
That's
about
just
it.
his mindset.
Okay, think about it, right? There has always been, and there always will be, somebody who is confused. Either they think they're straight or they're gay. But a lot of times, somebody who is gay is always going to know somebody who is curious, right? And
Right.
then there's always going to be that person who knows of someone who's gay, yet they're not that close, but they want to kind of have that experience, I guess we could say. And then, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, do you want to go somewhere? You want to hang out? And it'll be totally out of left field. And that person can think, how come, like Jane Doe is reaching out to me? I haven't seen her, spoken to her ever since middle school or whatever. You guys go hang out, and she ends up trying to get close, trying to kiss you, whatever. So that's what I'm saying. That's the vibe that I have. I don't feel it was Blaze who started everything. I do feel that it was Sam.
I do too, because I feel like he's the one that reached out to him. And maybe that was why he reached out to him, because maybe he had feelings for him before in high school, because a lot of times people like, oh, I had a crush on you in high school, or I thought about this in high school, or and I just didn't say anything, and then years later they get back or meet up or whatever. Maybe that's what he was doing, and then he just thought, I don't know, and then he just went on a fit of rage for some reason, like, oh, unless maybe Blaze didn't was just like, "Oh no, I don't see you like that," or, you know, or this relationship, yeah, like I don't look at it like that, or maybe he didn't want anything to do with that, and that set him off, That's a possibility too, that he tried to hit on, and then he thought, "Oh, he's going to go around to tell everybody what I did." And
That's
that I'm
very
like
true.
this, and I'm like this, and he's gonna go around and tell everybody if I don't, and then that anger kicked in, like, you're not gonna tell everybody, I'm not gonna let you. So that's another possibility too, because you see a lot of that happen where somebody's like, oh no, I don't see you like that, and then they're like, oh my god, they're gonna tell everybody what I did, and I tried to hit on him, and then everybody's gonna think I'm weird, and this, that, and the other, and then next thing you know, they've killed him because they don't want him to say anything. Then the whole world knows, and you're in prison for the rest of your life. So eh, it ended up anyways happening. So there was no point to ever even going as far as you did in the first place.
But I'm pretty sure that Blaze knew that there was something going on with this guy. I mean, just looking at his picture, you know that he's not playing with a full deck. You know that there's underlying issues and there's things that are going on. Are we able to pinpoint everything? No, absolutely not. But I'm pretty sure that Blaze knew that he was not Blaze himself, but Sam was a little bit different. That there was something off about him, and maybe
And maybe
that could have been a reason why Blaze could have been like no, and like, I'm just here to hang out. I'm here to just kind of smoke some weed or whatever, um,
I'm
and
just here to be
then
your friend. Like,
yeah, yeah, and
why
then
does it have to be anymore?
and that could have totally have offset everything, and that's when you know again how those underlying issues just kind of immediately rise to the surface within a split second.
Right. And then you just have a totally different outcome you know, than you were thinking. But this kid just seems to, I don't know, he seemed to like, at some point, his rage took over. Whether he was planning it from the get go or not, at some point that rage kicked in and he had it somewhere. But I honestly think Blaze was just trying to be a friend. I mean, he seems like the type of kid, like you're looking at him, you're reading about him and his background and everything. He just seems like the type of kid that would, if you wanted to be a friend or wanted to talk, that's what he would do. he would be there right there just to be a friend and talk to you.
And this
And
guy
maybe
totally
even
took
the
advantage of that. This guy totally
yeah.
took advantage of it.
And even if you're an outcast or, somebody that people didn't talk to or things like that, maybe that he was one of those kids that like, "Hey, I'll be your friend," I- and be friends with everybody. He wasn't one of those kids that just was like, "I'm not going to be friends with you or you or you or you because you're different." He was just like, I'll be friends with anybody. So, and treat everybody nicely. There's a lot of people out there like that in the world, and there's a lot of people that are not. So,
I mean, there's I like I said, having that amount of rage is is really scary because he's even saying, I just kept driving and driving and driving the knife down.
yeah.
So at that point, he had like no control, basically. His anger took over.
Yeah, he pretty much was saying that. But if he can remember all of that, why how does he not remember stabbing him that many times though? At the same time, you're like, well, then how do you not remember that? Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I really don't think that, and I could be wrong. I really don't feel that he was the one who was high, basically. Maybe he had like a little puff here and there, but I really feel that he was trying to get Blaze high.
Yeah, that's possible too. I mean, he did say he smoked marijuana, so maybe, that's what he was doing before in the car. Who I don't even know how long they were together. I mean, it didn't really say what time he left, or I guess they really don't have a timeline of when he killed him, huh?
No, because his parents actually um went and searched all of his social media accounts. So I mean, at that point, we don't even know like the time or any of that. And if he was so stoned out of his mind, Sam Woodridge is not going to know that either. If even if he was stoned or not, just the amount of rage and anger will cause him to forget.
Right. Yeah, he just seems like this whole case seemed very sad, and like you said, it's just, it's Pride Month, and you have you have this kid that, of course, even though the case is solved, it's just sad reminder of things that happen in our life to anybody at any age, and for no given reason at all, can just be something that somebody does to you, even whether you've known them for a long time. You may have knew them when you were in, like you said, middle school, high school, and then not met them again till adulthood, and then they you know then they like this case, he murdered him, and it's just, you never know in life, and everybody's different in this world, and we all do different things. I say whoever, want to be with, you be with. Whoever you love, you love. It doesn't matter. That's your choice, that's your opinion, the type of person, like the things you want to do with your life. If we're friends, and it doesn't matter the outside part of it, because there's other things that, we refer to, even if we're different people at different points, even politics wise. Like, other people can see different things. I'm not going to talk to you about politics because I know politics just causes people to hate each other, not like each other, do anything. But I'm still going to be friends with somebody. I don't care if their viewpoint is different, or if they're gay, or if they're not gay, or you know what I mean. Um,
If they had like
so
20
it just
wives or something.
I'm not going to go out and like take them and just like, have so much anger towards them, that I just don't have that in me, to where I have so much anger in them that I'm just going to take their life because they're different than me, or I'm confused about my sexuality or whatever. And things happen. It's just, that's just a different person. But at the same time, you have people that are just like, I'll be your friend, and they trust you, and they want to be your friend, and they want to help you, and they just want to be there, and then you take it to that level of extreme, and you hurt, not only you killed the person, but you hurt so many people in the long run, your family, their family. I mean, think about his parents too. I mean, what they have to live with, what their son did, and like seeing it on the news, and it's like both families were destroyed in this whole thing, and it's sad.
I am just glad that at least they were able to find who killed him and was able to convict him, and also to be able to find Blaze. There's so many families who they don't even know where their child is at. They don't even know who killed their child. They don't even know what happened. So I really give kudos to the parents, going in and looking at his social media accounts to see what's going on. Because if they would never have done that, then this would never have been solved.
Yeah. I mean, and look, yeah, like you said, there's cases where the bodies are never found, and this could have been one of those cases too, where it's never found. It just depends. I mean, of course, this kid, I mean, kept him in the same area, so once Mother Nature worked, he popped up. In a lot of cases, you have that happen where Mother Nature works, and then eventually you do find the person that's missing. But it, and families just don't have that closure, so for them to have him and at least be able to lay him to rest, I'm glad about that. But at the same time, I'm just sad that it had to be taken to this extreme, and he is no longer with us too. So
Just imagine all the great and wonderful things that he was destined to do here, that this other person decided for him. No, like today's it. His parents are missing out on so much, and it's not their fault. It's not Blaze's fault. It's this Sam's fault. Regardless if their son is gay or not, he could have had children. They could have had a grandchild. From him. He could have went on to do amazing and beautiful things in this world. But yet, it's unfortunate that we will never know if that would even have been a possibility, because somebody had to go and make that decision for him.
yeah, and these kids these days, it's just and adults. I'm not even saying it's not just kids either. It's adults too that we make these decisions because we're filled with so much hatred, and like people just the anger in a person's body these days is just crazy. Like how people get so mad about some of the simplest stuff too. It's not even things that you should really get mad about, but I feel I definitely feel I've seen a lot of it, like doing a lot of these cold cases, missing persons, murder cases, just seeing the way that people do things, and it's not fair. It's not right, and I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, and I don't know if we'll ever really know why people do the things they do. They say they do. They say their reasons, but do you really ever know why they make those choices? I don't know. It's just the way that person is built, I guess.
And then what about Sam's parents? Did they not see that there was something obviously wrong with their child? Did
I
they
mean,
just
at some point, I would think after he's 18 years old, you don't really who knows? I don't even know if he was living with his parents, he was living on his own. Does anybody even know like his background story? Like he going to college? Was he doing anything? I mean, they don't really even say.
no, no, they
I
did.
mean, but obviously because you don't want to give him as much attention as the other person because, you don't want to make him more out there and famous than he already is from what he's done because people just, a lot of people will thrive on the fact that he did that. And, those people get letters in the mail. I mean, they get money, things like that from people that are just weird to do that stuff for people that have killed somebody. So,
That's so bizarre. It really is. And I'm not going to say that I have never ever written to somebody who has who's done something, and I wanted information, because I have done that. And am I still going to? Absolutely. And why do I do it? Because I want information. I'm not one of those creepy stalking fans. Well, here's Charles Manson. He killed all these people. Ooh, I'm going to follow Charles Manson. I'm be like a Manson groupie. I'm not that type of person. But I do write to some of them depending if their story has intrigued me. And if I truly feel that somebody is innocent, just like in this case, let's say if I was like, no, this is totally wrong. Sam is totally innocent. I totally would write him because I would want to hear his story. But in this case, I have no desire to reach out to him because he's a freaking murderer.
sometimes when you're doing cases and you're trying to figure out things and you have people that are in jail for something, you write to them to try to get more details or like story
Yeah,
information about it.
absolutely.
Like especially if it's cold cases or like bodies are missing and things like that, you want to write and you try to get like people to give you information. But yeah, at that same time, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not going to put money on your books. Like, have you ever heard about Jodi Arias?
Yes.
Yes. You know that she has so much money on her books, she will never have to pay for anything a day in her life in prison. Like, nothing.
That's because of those creepy, murdering fans that like to follow those people.
Hmm. Like, she doesn't ever have to do anything, and people write her and they praise her, and they, it's just, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, is to where you have that, like, what does why does she deserve anything like that? Like, she deserves to be in there working for her money to make a living, to eat better, to, have the nicer things that you can have in there with your own money, but you have to work a job in there. And instead, she can just do whatever she wants and just live life and have the food she wants and do whatever, that they can do with their money and buy things. And I know they don't have luxury in there, but still, I mean, the money can get you stuff. So it's just, that's crazy that she gets to live that life there like that and doesn't have to work for it, because everybody else wants to pay for her stuff, because people just praise her and just want it. I don't know why. I just don't know why.
I wonder if people have done that to him, to Sam. See, now I'm curious. Now I'm going to have to write him.
Right. So see if he has like money on his books and stuff like that. Oh yeah. They'll even tell you, like the prison will even tell you, like she has all that. Like when you're talking to some of the, like when they do interviews and stuff for it. Oh yeah, they'll tell you. It's the strangest thing that people are fascinated with these people that they do that. Now, like I would write somebody, like I wrote um the Unabomber before he passed away, because I thought I wanted some information because of my theory on him, but he never wrote me back. But that's something that I wrote because I wanted information about something I believed. But I wasn't going to send him money or praise him for what he did, because what he did was disgusting. But I just wanted to talk to him about a topic. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I see what you're saying too as well.
Yeah, now I have now I'm going to have no choice but to write him.
That's funny.
That's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to say, due to it being Pride Month in California and throughout the entire world, and I am a gay female, I'm going to totally just blast him with everything gay.
There you go. And I want to know.
Maybe
Like,
I'll
what
send
the
him
gay
like
is.
a maybe I'll send him like a gay towel or something.
There you go. Jeez, that guy. I have no idea. Like, I wonder what his thought process is in there. You know what I mean? Just after all of this, do you even remotely have any guilt for what you did? Like, any emotion, any, like, do you feel bad for the parents? Do you have anything? It's almost like you think that, but it's like,
I don't think he does. I don't think he has any remorse. I think that his thought process is, well, there's another homosexual off the street who can't, you know, do any of his perversion or molest children, because you also have those people who think that too. Oh, you're a gay guy, you're perverted, you're a child molester, and it just goes on and on and on. So maybe in his mind, that's what he's thinking. Oh, I got this perv off of the street. It's worth it. It's worth me being in jail. Which there's nothing perverted about somebody loving somebody, regardless
right.
if it's two guys, two girls, guy girl. Even if you're a guy and you have two wives, you know what I mean? That's their
Even
thing.
if you love your little stuffed doll, you married your stuffed doll and you have stuffed
I totally
things.
forgot about that.
I mean, whoever you love is your own choice. I
Yeah,
just had to bring that up because I was reading that today and I was just like, what? But
no, but again,
it's
I
your
am.
own opinion.
No, it's true. But I'm just so glad that Blaze's parents did the right thing. They started what they felt that they needed to do. Because a lot
Yeah.
of times, a child, regardless if they're a minor or not, the parents will immediately call 911, and they will end up saying, "Oh, well, maybe he or she ran away, Are they on drugs or have they been drinking? And they don't take it serious. So the fact that the parents went in, immediately checked the social media accounts, found this, presented that to the cops. At that point, the cops had nothing else to do except we need to follow up on this.
I have definitely learned that if your child is missing and you have an inkling that they're not a runaway, do not mention runaway. Because once you mention the word runaway, those cops and law enforcement just, and we've learned this from the Alyssa Attorney case, once you mention runaway, they don't take it as seriously as if it's a missing person and you know that they went off with this person and this was the last person they talked to and they weren't going anywhere or there was nothing wrong with them. You know what I mean? So once you say runaway, that totally makes the thought process totally different when it comes to missing persons or finding somebody that disappeared. So just keep that in mind.
And not only that, but don't believe that you have to wait 24 hours.
Right.
You can report them missing as soon as you feel that they are truly missing. And don't ever let anybody from law enforcement, regardless to the FBI or not, tell you that you cannot search for your child or that you need to stop or that you are interfering with the police investigation. What investigation are you interfering with?
Exactly.
I can understand that they said, do not go to that house because we're watching him and you're interfering with the police investigation. Okay, I can totally understand that. But for you to go and arrange your own search parties, to have your own press conferences, things like that, you have every right to do that. And the only reason why law enforcement get so upset at that is because you make them look bad. Who
Right, because you're
cares?
doing their job.
Yeah, who cares? You are a tax-paying citizen, so technically they work for you. And then also, if you have a detective on your case, they're not calling you back, there's no communication, you don't feel that they are doing what they need to do, you can request a new detective to be on the case. You have every right to do that. And by you making that decision, they have to assign that file to another detective.
Exactly. So just make sure you know your laws, and I mean you make your own choices. As a parent, we know our kids. We know what's going on with our kids. Like, yeah. And law enforcement just, you want to make sure that they're doing their job when you're doing what you want to do. Because I'd be out there searching for my kid every day. So,
Me too. I would join you.
yep. I'd join you. I'd be out there. I don't care what it is. I'd be out there telling you, would not stop.
Neither would I. But again, I'm glad that they were able to convict. I'm glad that they were able to find, and I'm glad that the parents were able to lay Bernstein down. You know,
Yeah.
to have that closure, to have that not 100% closure, but to know, okay, at least they have a place where they know where their son is at, and they can go to that place and they can visit. I mean, it's unfortunate. He's not there in a physical sense, but that's going to be the closest thing that they can get to being near their son, which is unfortunate. But thank you all for listening. Again, anytime somebody goes missing, regardless if it's a hate crime or not, it always is a serious situation. Do your homework. Call law enforcement, do your own searches, create your own search parties, really get that information out on social media, which is huge. And don't let anyone, even cops, tell you you can't search, because know that you can.
Yes. And I feel like this was a great case to talk about at the very end of Pride Month and to like close out the month of June. So um, it was a great case, and I think a lot of people can relate to this case too on a lot of their hate crimes that have occurred. So, but if you guys have any questions, any information, like I said, you can always email us. It's at sleuthsunleashed@gmail.com. And it looks like that's all for our episode today. So I wish you guys have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks thank you for joining us on Sleuths Unleashed, Unraveling Criminal Cases. We hope today's episode sparked your curiosity and gave you a fresh perspective on the art of crime solving. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with fellow sleuths. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and until next time, keep unraveling the mysteries of the world.